chapter 13, text number 39. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So chapter 13, the title of the chapter, The Stealing of the Cowherd Boys and Calves by Lord Brahma, plus some other things, so picnicking and stuff. Okay, let's see. Naite shure shorishayo nachaite Tvam eva bhashita bhid ashayeti Sarvam pritakvam nigamat katha vadyeti Uktena vritam prabhuna bhalo bhait. So Lord Baladev said, O Supreme Controller, these boys are not great demigods, as I previously thought, nor are these calves great sages like Narada. Now I can see that you alone are manifesting yourself in all varieties of difference. Although one, you're existing in different forms of the calves and boys. Please explain this to me. Having been thus requested by Lord Baladev, Krishna explained the whole situation, and Baladev understood it. Purport. Inquiring from Krishna about the actual situation, Lord Balaram said, My dear Krishna, in the beginning, I thought that all these cows, calves, and cowherd boys were either great sages or saintly persons or demigods, but at present it appears that they're actually your expansions. They're all you. You yourself are playing as calves, cows, and boys. What is the mystery of this situation? So I'll ask, does anybody know why Lord Balaram was unaware of the whole situation?
He was celebrating his birthday. He didn't go. I know it from Krishna Das Prabhu.
Yes. And what other leelas did Baladev miss out, kind of skip out on because of his birthday? Another question, like what pastimes happened during his birthday?
Killing of Aghasura.
Aghasura, yes. And then this pastime, Brahma Vimoha Leela, and there's one more. He was home for his birthday. Krishna went to the banks of the Kaliyagat, and there's Kaliya Naga. So Balaram wasn't there in the beginning because he was home for his birthday. Same thing.
Is there like an esoteric reason for Kaliya Leela? I heard that Balaram is this serpent that's carrying Vishnu, and he didn't want to. And Kaliya was somehow related to that serpent that was carrying Vishnu, and Balaram didn't want to offend him or something like that. Is there like an esoteric?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard. Well,
can you share?
Maybe late. Yeah, I have heard that, but that I didn't find in Prabhupada books. That it's the same serpent family. So Lord did not want to Balram to feel bad for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Nice. So the first pastime we have this. Krishna wakes up in the morning, and he says, "I have an idea. Let's go out. Let's have our lunch in the forest." He talks to his friends, and they're all like, yes, we'll go to the forest. because you understand that this pastime, Krishna he's not yet taking the role of a gopa. He's not taking the calves out, the calves out. So but him and his friends, they made this plan to go to the forest to have a nice picnic. And then a message came from the servant at Balaram's house. They said, I have a message from Balaram, and he's very sad. He regrets to inform you that he can't come. He has this like there's a special snan ceremony, there's a special bathing ceremony, and there's all these festivities that are planned. He said there was like his maternal uncle. I don't know the name because it just said the maternal uncle, but his uncle was there from the Kuru dynasty. So his uncle was there, and he says he's just in our house, sitting there like a tree. And it's like, I can't go, I'm sorry. And he says, when you have some nice plan, don't let don't let anything get in the way of your nice plan. Just let it fulfill itself. And so Krishna and the cowherd boys, they went out for a nice picnic, and we know this is the pastime when they saw the Agasura snake. And then right after the Agasura snake is the snack that they're having. So here, I'll read the purport. Dun, dun, we said them to explain where are we? What is the mystery? Okay, what is the mystery of this situation? Where have those other calves and cows and boys gone? And why are you expanding yourself as the cows, calves, and boys? Will you kindly tell me what is the cause? At the request of Balaram, Krishna briefly explained the whole situation. How the calves and boys were stolen by Brahma, and how he was concealing the incident by expanding himself so people would not know that the original cows, calves, and boys were missing. Balaram understood, and therefore this was not Maya, but Krishna's opulence. Krishna has all opulence, and this was another opulence of Krishna. So there's two different Shaktis that are indicated that are enacting this pastime. You have the Sarva Sankalpa Shakti. This is the Shakti that just makes everything that Krishna wants just appear. And then the Leela Shakti makes, this is a Leela Shakti, is to create some nice excitement and drama in Krishna's ecstatic pastimes. Let's tell the whole story. Because even though we've all heard it, but it's such a wonderful story. And so, Brahma, he is seeing this little boy, and this little boy apparently is the supreme, the source of his father. And who's Brahma's father? Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So he is so massive that his body is said to be like the size of our entire universe. He's in the universe, but his body is said to be like this, expand the entire universe. And Brahma is born from the lotus that stems from his navel. And as we know in the pastime, in the first canto or second canto, he goes down that petal, he goes down the stem, and he can't find an end. And so this is his father, and he says, and he can't even grasp the expanse of his own father, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And Garbhodakshay Vishnu is but an expansion of Krishna. And so apparently this Krishna, this boy that's walking around on earth and just playing like a cowherd boy, apparently that is the original primeval form. That is this Swayam Bhagavan, the original form of Krishna, of the Lord. And so this is completely mind-blowing. And so as Krishna has a beautiful picnic. It describes that the boys were lined up in rows all around Krishna, like the petals are surrounding the lotus, because they all just want to be seeing Krishna's beautiful face. They would have very friendly pastimes. Like, Krishna, try this bada. And so they put it, and they actually put a flower in his mouth. Start playful hitting each other, running away, coming back. You hear in the Agasura pastime where the boys would like steal somebody's lunch, and the person would try to get it back, and they would throw it back and forth, and the person's running back between the two parties. Also, leading up to that pastime is the Agasura pastime, is where they're imitating the sounds of the different animals they're playing as well. So Krishna is sitting there. He's got his flute tucked in his right side, his bugle, and his herding stick in the left. And he's got in his hand, his left hand, he's got some yogurt rice. He's got some lime and some amla pickle between his fingers. And said that he would take the stuff in his left hand, he would put it in his right, and he would eat. And they all were very eager to, share with Krishna. So, Krishna, my mother made this sweet. You have to try it. It's so delicious. You have to try it. And the mothers themselves, they had such great affection for Krishna that they would cook, and they would hope, I hope my son shares with that darling boy Krishna. He's so charming and so beautiful. And so the mothers would cook with this intention that the food would be shared with Krishna, and the boys would come there with the intention of sharing their wonderful sweets and savories with Krishna. And so sometimes they would share. Sometimes people would snatch food out of the other person's mouth. They would share their half-eaten food. And so they're having all these beautiful pastimes. And then at one moment, the boys start to notice that the calves are missing. Where are our calves? Where are our calves? Oh my God, our parents will be so upset. They may be in trouble. And so Krishna, he tells them, please don't worry. I'll go find them. Don't stop eating. You peacefully stay here and eat your lunch. Don't stop eating, and I'll go look for the calves. And so Krishna wanders off. He still has his yogurt rice in his hand. You need some yogurt rice. I love yogurt rice. Yogurt rice in his hand, and he's out there calling his calves. They say Krishna carries japa mala. What does he carry malas? So he can count his calves. Actually, when they first went out, when they said, "Oh, let's go have a picnic," it describes that there were either tens of thousands, or tens of thousands, or millions of cowherd boys. They're all there running. There's millions and millions, countless number of cows and calves as well. This is Krishna's amazing Shakti, as we see so many different Shaktis. And as Krishna's looking for the calves, Brahma also then, because he's the one who kidnapped the calves, as you know. And so Brahma also kidnaps the cowherd boys, puts them in a sleeping spell, takes them, you could say, to another dimension. And he's a little nervous. He's kind of testing Krishna, but also a little bit nervous about the situation. So he comes back in a blink of an eye. And Brahma, he blinks very fast. His blink is how long is a year compared to Brahma's time? I'll give you an example. If you take 97,000 years, you'll come to 1 second of Brahma. 1 second. So at 97 thousandths of a second, just a very fraction of a moment, Brahma immediately came back to see what had happened. And he saw the same cowherd boys, same calves were there, the ones that he thought he had taken. And as we see, Balaram, the great detective, not with his omniscience, not with his omnipresence, but he came to gradually, not gradually, it took him 5-6 a year minus 5 to 6 days. He was not aware of the situation at all. But one day he saw the cows were on the bottom of like a valley, it go over downhill, and the cows were on the top with the cowherd men. And when the cows saw their calves, the cows started sprinting down the hill, and milk was gushing out of their udders. And their tails up high, running down the hill. When the cows are happy, they put their tails up high, and they're just running down the hill. And the men are embarrassed and upset because they're supposed to show, they're supposed to be the examples of how you're supposed to take care of these cows. And the entire herd is running down this very steep hill. And so they're also running after the cows, trying to control them, but then they see their boys. And the cows run down, and their milk is gushing out of their udders, and the milk is covering the grass. It says milk is the only food that is given. Every other food is something you take. Milk is a product of affection. It's as soon as a mother hears her baby cry, or a mother who has children, she hears another baby cry, she'll start lactating. So it's actually a product of affection. And as you may know, we're several devotees that we know. There's one in Florida. There was Kurma Rupa also had cows that are virgin cows. They've never been pregnant. They've never had a child. They're giving milk out of affection. And you even have these miraculous events happening sometimes with, human mothers that are taking care of some adopted child, and they begin to start lactating. So milk is what? Product of affection. And therefore, when we're drinking, nice milk from cows that are protected, it produces that affectionate mood. And so the calves were reciprocating with the cows. Now these calves are big, so they don't drink from the udders, but they're chewing the grass mixed with the milk, and the cows are licking and mooing and mooing and mooing. And the men, they were running down the hill, crying. And they picked up their sons, they smelled them, and they kissed them all over. And I said, I haven't seen you since this morning. I love you. Oh my God, I love you. They're crying. And Balaram he's witnessing this thing. This is so extraordinary. Krishna, he comes to figure that, these can't be this bewildering situation. It can't be demigods in disguise. It can't be great sages in disguise. It's not some demon. The only person who could make you feel that way is Mr. Love Magnet, Krishna. He is the only one who can draw out that intensity of affection. So he asks Krishna. He understands that this is Krishna's. These are Krishna. The only person who could draw that that super intense affection is Krishna. But he was still bewildered about the situation and how it came to be. Okay, so we will continue on. At first, Lord Balaram said, I thought that these boys and calves were display. Okay, did we read that? I think were display of the power of great sages like Narada. But now I see that all these boys and calves are you. After inquiring from Krishna, Lord Balaram understood that Krishna himself had become many. That the Lord can do this is stated in the Brahma Samhita. Advaitam chutam anadamananta rupam. Although he is one, he can expand himself in so many forms. According to the Vedic version, Ekam Bahusham. Syam, there's not a line over there. He can expand himself into many thousands and millions, but still remain one. So if he, minuses one Vedic math, Krishna's math, 1 minus 1 is still 1. He has not become any less. 1 plus 1, you put them together, he's the full form. In that sense, everything is spiritual because everything is an expansion of Krishna. That is, everything is an expansion of either Krishna himself or his potency. Because the potency is not different from the potent. The potency and the potent are one. Shakti matayor abheda, non-different. The Shakti and the Shakti, the man. The Mayavadis, however, say, Chit achit samanvayam. Spirit and matter are one. This is a wrong conception. Spirit, chit, is different from matter, achit, as explained by Krishna himself. Bhumir apo nalo vayu kammana bhudare vachahankara itiyame bina prakritir ashtada apareyam mitastanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutta mahabaho yaivam dharyate jagat. So these are the 8 elements of material energy. These are he cries as his bhina prakriti, his separated material energies. And he says, but there's another energy. There's a para prakriti. There's a superior energy. And those are the living entities who are struggling with this material nature and are sustaining sustaining the universe. Spirit and matter cannot be made one, for actually they are superior and inferior energies. Yet the Mayavadis are the Advaitavadis try to make them. This is wrong. Although spirit and matter ultimately comes from the same one source, they cannot be made one. For example, there are many things that come out of our bodies, but although they come out from the same source, they cannot be made one. The mother is making milk with affection, but a person may also make mucus from infection. You cannot nourish anybody with mucus, any child, not possible. Actually, this word mucus means to expel. And so Hiranandamar, he brings all the Sanskrit roots that are found in English. So mukti, moksha, actually mucus means to be free, to free from, expel out, to be free from. So this is a very odd connection. Moksha is also, that's the same, the root that's there in the Sanskrit is there, the same, that word is derived from the same roots. Okay. Mm-hmm. We should carefully note that although the supreme source is one, the emanations from this source should be separately regarded as inferior and superior. I was just reading Simon Haas's book. He's done the Book of Dharma, and he describes, you have your 4 legs of Dharma, and similarly you have four dimensions of speech. you have 4 dimensions of language. So you have being, you have, like is, that's a verb that's related to being. You have your words that are related to relating, conjunctions. You have your words that are related to differentiating, adverbs, faster, slower. And you have your words related to doing. There's 4 elements of speech, and the 8 different parts of language, 2 fit into being, 2 fit into relating, 2 fit into differentiating, and 2 fit into doing. And so these 4 of language actually line up with the 4 divisions of Dharma, the 4 legs of Dharma. So for being, you have Sat, Satyam, honesty, truthfulness. And the whole idea of Sat, you see, it's about like Sat Chidananda, the actual existence, not a false existence. So Sat, then you have Satyam, and then relating, you have nonviolence. The highest form of relating is to relate in a way that is compassionate and nonviolent. Then you have this tapas, this austerity, this discipline. That's the socham. Socham is the related to in the language thing, is related to differentiating. Like we differentiate the modes of material nature, categorizing. And then the verb of doing, that's related to discipline, tapas. So interesting. And they all have to be, for it to be Dharma, they need to all be there. You can't have discipline without nonviolence and all these other principles. Okay, so this is so emanations from the source should be separately regarded. So those differences should be there, should be understood. The categories, the difference between Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophy is that Vaishnava philosophy recognizes this fact. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, therefore, is called a Chincha Beda Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. For example, fire and heat cannot be separated. For where there is a fire, there is heat, and when there is heat, there is a fire. There's a fire in Vedic thought is not necessarily, a flaming, something on fire as we would normally use in English, but any type of kind of chemical reaction where there is heat produced, like you have in your stomach, you have your fire digestion, and there's no real flames down there, but you do have fuel that is being processed, and then you do have energy and heat that is created. Nonetheless, we cannot touch fire. Heat we can tolerate. Therefore, though they are one, they are different. And so in the impersonal philosophy, you have the idea that this world is actually an illusion. And we find that the very simple argument against that is that, the idea that you are God and this world is illusion, is that the illusion then becomes God, because how did God come into illusion? How did something that is supposed to be superior become illusioned? And therefore, the illusion has a greater stance. You have this example in the Upanishads of mistaking a snake for a rope. You've all heard this example. Actually, I was in Vrindavan, and there was this kid, and he had a stick. And on the end of the stick, he had a very thin string. And then attached to that string, he had a rope. And right after sunset, he was walking around near Kaliagat, and he was past Kaliagat. He was near Kesh, and he was walking around, with this stick late at night, and he was just walking and shaking it. And so what did that look like? It looked like there was a boy with a snake following him. It's this little prank, just like you see so many pranks that Krishna and his friends are doing. So he's walking around, and people are getting very frightened because it's a stick, a little string, and then there's a rope. So you just see the rope twirling out, following this boy, just like a snake. And so Rupa Goswami, he says that there's a few things. If why would you confuse a rope for a snake? Why would you confuse this world for the reality? Well, why would you confuse the rope for the snake? Why wouldn't you confuse the rope for like an elephant, or maybe a potato, or may confuse the rope to be like a refrigerator? Why wouldn't you? Because they don't have similar qualities. You don't confuse things that don't have similar qualities. So we confuse this world to be reality because it has similar qualities of the actual sat, the actual reality. The reality of of existence is a spiritual world. It's full of variety, and that's why we confuse this world to the reality. Another issue is that we confuse the rope for the snake because snakes exist, because there's an existence of snakes. That's similar to the one of the similarity. You wouldn't confuse the rope for something that does not exist. And so this world, the spiritual world, has its own existence. All right, so a little pastime, and I'd like to open the floor to all of you. See if you could share any of your thoughts on this verse or what we spoke. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful class. We just delight in you and your faith in Krishna consciousness, your wisdom, and your love for Krishna. We heard a lot of data today, a lot of description of information about how the world works, and then Krishna's pastimes. And Prabhupada says there is Veda, this knowledge, this information, all these details, and then there's the Vedanta. And the Vedanta is, therefore, what? Vasudeva Sarvam. So how wonderful is Krishna? How wonderful is Krishna? He's doing so amazing things. And then let's serve Krishna. So the Guru brings us like that. Not only does he explain to us how wonderful Krishna is, but he actually calls us to do something, to reciprocate with the care that Krishna gives and the clever creation. The creation attracts us to the Creator and invokes our relationship with Krishna, that, okay, let me do something as an offering for the Lord. Let us please Krishna, right? So that tie it in. I mean, like, that's where it all goes. After all the details, then what? We had one girl here, a heroin addict girl from the street, and Dandara Maharaj was here, and he was explaining a lot of philosophy wonderfully, and she was very sober in one sense. She said, yeah, so what's the point? She kept saying that. Well, what's the point? And he said, the point is that Krishna loves you, and therefore let's show our love for Krishna. When you bring it home to the Vedanta, to the conclusion, then all those other things fit into place. But without that, it's just a volume of details and information, even about Krishna's pastimes. And how do we respond to that, right? I'll let you go talking too much. Oh, glory to Prabhupada.
Oh, no, thank you. Go ahead. I see there's another question.
Ananda Manjari.
Hey, Krishna. Thank you so much for this class. I really want to just bring back the image of Krishna being the love magnet, which I absolutely cherish. And I also wanted to go back to your description of 4 levels or aspects of speech and how they relate to 4 legs of dharma. And so how do we cultivate that practically, cultivating the 4 aspects of Dharma in our speech and in our actions?
Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm still in the middle of the book, so there's probably a whole bunch more lessons that I could learn. Your spiritual master has given the example of that if we practice something, that nature may not be inherent. Like we can practice serving people, and we may not have this inherent characteristic of feeling like service, doing service for people. We can practice those qualities, and by continuous practice, we hear that like even in our non-devotional philosophy, people will talk about how the habits actually become characteristics. So the habits, if we practice humbly serving people, then eventually that will become our nature. It will become more humble. If we practice telling the truth, then we may not have that inherent nature, but then eventually that becomes actually we become purified, because these are actually all inherent natures. These are inherent natures of the soul. These are our actual natures. So by practicing it, then it gives us it's the platform by which we can truly engage in bhakti is acting dharmically. We can't it's like we can't it's like planting seeds in soil that's not fertile. When we don't live a dharmic life, then it's hard to grow the seed of bhakti. So it creates a nice situation to but I can read the book, finish the book, and have some more to offer, hopefully.
In this class, you're going to finish the book in this class? Nityananda Chandra?
No. Give me a few weeks.
Okay.
And what is the book that you're reading?
Oh, Book of Dharma. It's in the Bhakti Center gift shop.
Okay, yeah, I read it, like Simon has. It's a really beautiful book.
Our four regulative principles are connected to the 4 legs. So, like that's like really where we draw the line. That's okay. This is for sure. This is what we know we need to do. We have gambling goes against honesty. And why does gambling go against honesty? Well, there's a basic thing you can't honestly like show your cards while you're gambling. But another way that gambling goes against honesty is that you, instead of having the faith that what we do will give us what we deserve, we're going to try to get money that we don't deserve, or that without putting in the actual effort and work. So Prabhupada describes that the Brahmana, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, they have this faith that if I do what I'm supposed to do, then I will get what I'm supposed to get. I will get my, what is actually my quota. Especially the Brahmana, they have this full faith.
And I will not get what I'm not supposed to get, right?
Yeah. I try, I put in my endeavor and I do the things that I'm supposed to do, and I'll get what I'm supposed to get. And then, of course.
Can you say this to your? Can I say this to my wife? This is not what you deserve. How do we apply this principle wisely? Because sometimes it just may become an excuse for lack of enthusiasm and like apathy, and basically avoiding responsibility.
Yeah, very good, very good. We're very expert in abusing different things. So somehow, I'm sure you've heard, we should act as if everything depends on us, but have this internal vision that it's all dependent on Krishna. So the proper endeavor should be put there.
That's Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada said that.
I believe, yeah.
Externally act as if you're in control. but internally understand that Krishna is in charge.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
What's that? Govinda Bhog, where we don't want to be kind of totally whimsical, like the rice, puffed rice was blown away by the wind, and the person says Govinda Bhog. Oh, I guess it's like that. Do you know that pastime?
No, but I kind of get the point. Yeah.
Sometimes we burn the rice and then we say, oh, I guess Krishna wanted it that way. Oh, no. That's our foolishness, our inattention.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada chastised one devotee who said, oh, it's Krishna's arrangement that we screwed up. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, this was not Krishna's arrangement. This was your stupidity.
Yeah. So we don't want to, we become experts in abusing our philosophy to avoid responsibility. Responsibility. Yeah. Even when we do something, we might take shelter of the idea.
Sorry, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, I interrupted you.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
We may take shelter. That devotee is considered sadhu, he's faultless. But that the one who's considered the faultless sadhu, even though he is performing sin, is the one who is heavily repentful. He sits in the fire of repentance. He not someone who is performing sins and unrepentant. That person is nonsense.
Thank you. Gaurasharan Prabhu, you wanted to share some nectar?
No, just wanted to add, how regarding the point. Thank you, Nityananda Prabhu. That was a beautiful class and a beautiful altar also. Thank you. And I just wanted to add that how acting as if it all depends on us. So it's Srila Prabhupada said, the devotees wanted to do the first Rath Yatra in London after the San Francisco. So they wanted to really build a bigger cart. So they built a huge cart but they forgot to increase the proportion of the wheels accordingly. So they had so much press, but the Rath did not work out. It was a total failure, and they were so heartbroken. And they wrote, and Gurudas Prabhu asked Prabhupada, was there any lack of devotion in our attempt? That's why this did not go together. Prabhupada said it was not lack of devotion, it was lack of engineering. So means sometimes devotees can ascribe everything to the ultimate cause.
Thank you. So good to see Gaurasharan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
And hear him. Okay, Temple Room online audience, any questions, comments, reflections?
I would say that you started speaking how the 4 principles relate to the 4 legs of Dharma, but you only went through one. I think it would feel more complete if you actually speak about the remaining 3.
Oh, so the compassion, daya, is related to nonviolence, ahimsa, the no eating meat, fish, or eggs. And then the other 2, I see they're kind of overlapped. I generally like to go with that socham. Cleanliness is with no intoxication, because you're going clean. It's very easy to understand. You're going clean, And discipline, tapas, austerity, is no adultery, no illicit sex. There's some discipline in your life, not that every single object of the sense let me take that one. Oh, I'll go for that one. I'll go for this one. No, there's discipline. Prabhupada, humans have this institution called marriage. It makes somebody civilized, not that they're just chasing whatever object that the eyes see.
We were reading this verse last night, Lord Rishabdev, Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Satnam Shudya, right? That in the human form of life, it's appropriate to voluntarily accept austerities, to purify our existence, austerities in the service of the Lord. And here comes Radha Murugadhar.
Okay, great class, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Now is the time to greet the Lord. Stand up. Krishna Prabhu, stand up and greet the Lord. Hare Krishna. Put your cameras on if you can. Bill B, thank you very much. Keeping your camera on.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
You're muted.
Sorry. Good seeing everybody. Krishna Prabhu, this is your home assignment. What principle corresponds to what leg, right? I'm not sure. You should do some research and tell us tomorrow. Okay. Bill B, welcome to our morning class, Sangha. Would you like to unmute yourself and say something? You washing dishes for Krishna? This is how our spouses make us civilized. They put us to work. All right. Amish Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Good seeing you. Suzanne, Hare Krishna. Angel, and Yogeshwar. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. There's another day. Don't quit. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. The yagya is going. Hare Krishna.